A British island just off the coast of France with a dark history. But Alderney's Pandora's box is set to be opened by the British government. Alderney is one of the Channel Islands, a cluster of islands near the northern coast of France but belonging to the United Kingdom. Nowadays, it has a population of just over 2,000 people and is a popular tourist destination. But in the early 1940s, as the entire population was evacuated from the island, fleeing to England as the Second World War raged, the empty island was occupied by Nazi Germany, which built 2 labour camps and 2 concentration camps. Around 6,000 people, considered enemies of the Nazi state, including Jews and political prisoners, were sent to Alderney, where they were forced to work, tortured, and many were killed. However, the scale of what happened in Alderney in World War II is not fully known. But this week, the British government will launch an investigation into the elephant in the islands and will hopefully bring closure to the families of the victims of these atrocities.
And joining us for more from London is Lord Eric Pickles, House of Lords Chair, Conservative Friends of Israel, and the UK's Special Envoy for Post-Holocaust issues. Lord Pickles, thank you for joining us. First of all, tell us about how this commission has been set up. And I guess the real obvious question, what took so long?
Well, I think it's been a long time in its waiting to do. It really started by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance choosing Alderney as a site to look at the ways in which you can preserve Holocaust sites right across the continent. But a number of other concentration sites were chosen, and it's a very strange business. Is that there is very wide differences with regard to there's the numbers, almost to the point where people are shouting at one another. And it seemed to me to be a sensible thing to try and tie down the numbers, to try and make it absolutely certain. Alderney is an important in the Holocaust. It's almost certainly the most westerly concentration camp that existed in the Third Reich. And while, of course, the main killing camps were well to the east, there is more than little evidence to suggest that murder by annihilation by work was practiced there. So we've put together an enormous team of international experts who have kindly agreed to look at the numbers. And we're basically saying, whether you're a distinguished historian or an amateur historian or somebody who just feels that they have some facts, to bring them forward, and we'll sift through them and hopefully get some kind of resolution. I'm delighted that we're going to be able to use the services of Yad Vashem for this, and hopefully by the turn of next year we should have some ideas.
You mentioned the numbers, Lord Pickles. One of them is how many Jews were actually there on Alderney, with official records saying just really not more than a handful. There are other researchers suggesting it could have been hundreds, maybe into 1,000. Is there a sense the British government, either out of apathy or some other reason, downplayed those numbers or didn't even want to acknowledge what happened to the extent of what it was on Alderney?
Well, whatever the British government did, it was 80 years ago, and most of the people involved in that are long gone. I'm not in a position to be able to say one way or the other, but I don't think the truth can hurt us. I think we need to face up to historic mistakes, if historic mistakes were made. And in terms of the majority of the people who were murdered by the Nazis there, were Soviet citizens. There were some from Spain, dissidents from Spain, but undoubtedly there were Jews there, and there are some suggestions that there might have been a considerable number of Jews on the island, and hopefully, because as you know, the Nazis were very keen at keeping numbers of tolling things, that there are records out there that we'll be able to find and be able to put together to get some decent ideas. Because I think not only is the truth should be there, but the dead deserve the dignity of knowing that they existed.
Right. I mean, there is, I know it's a complicated issue, questions about whether the Channel Islands themselves should have been liberated earlier by the British. Will this play into that discussion at all, you think?
No, nothing should be ruled out. I mean, they were abandoned by the British because they were indefensible. Quite a lot of the population left. In fact, just about all of the population of Alderney left. There are always unfinished business, but I mean, one of the things that we're determined to do is to ensure that the truth comes out, and I think it's important that should be the case. Alderney deserves that. It's a beautiful place. It's a stunning place, but as we know, sometimes nasty things, unpleasant things, dreadful things happened in beautiful places.
Right. When do you think there'll be when do you think there'll be some kind of official report issued?
Well, we're going to be opening the books probably sometime this week. We'll probably close for evidence at the end of November, and I'm hoping by March that we should have some kind of initial understanding of what the numbers are.
All right. As you say, fascinating, perhaps overlooked chapter of the Holocaust. Lord Eric Pickles, thank you for joining us on Jewish World Weekly.
Thank you.